get called a lot about, why aren't people attacking Trump? And I said, this is stupid. Most of the Republican Party, like 85%, loves Trump or Trump policies. There is a swath of never Trump, and then there's a swath of folks that like Trump policies, but are, think he's got some baggage, think he's got some problems, are concerned about the legal, whatever it is. So if you're Chris Christie, you're going after that, 10, 15% of never Trumper establishment types. That's never going to win. And I've said this before. The smart move is what Vivek has been doing, which is making the case that I can beat Trump without the baggage. Or if this guy falls, I said it the other day, he's drafting. If you're a NASCAR person, you know that, or even, I guess, runner. I'm neither. I'm not a track person or a runner, but I mean, you hear about this all the time, people drafting, and he's drafting. And I think the strategy is if something were to happen, then he becomes the guy. I think if you're going to beat Trump, that's the only way. And I'm not saying it's going to work or it's effective, but I think that's the only strategy that has a shot, because this idea of going at Trump, you think that the majority of voters in caucus and primary states think that's going to work? No, I don't. So I think to some degree, you saw even Mike Pence, Trump-Pence administration policies. They're trying to find that silver lining to be against him. And I don't think it's going to work, because you're trying to do two things at once. Christie at least is doing one thing and saying, all I need is X percent. I don't think it's going to work. Vivek at least gets it. He's smart. He's a businessman. He's going after the greatest chunk of voters, which is people who like Trump policies, but might be open to somebody who can be sort of 2.0. Going after him is just not going to work. And I think, I want to talk to him about that. What is his strategy? How is he going to talk to people? Why is he going places that no one else is going to? I think that's a fascinating thing. I get it. I think that's smart for the party. I just don't know that it's smart in a primary. Why? Because no one's watching MSNBC right now that's going to vote in a Republican primary or caucus. Is it good in a general election? Sure. Because you've got independent voters and maybe some people who got lost on the channel and they ended up on CNN, or they're sitting in a barber shop or something where CNN's playing or MSNBC's playing. Maybe they end up there. So, okay, I get that. But doing it right now, he's a smart business person. He wouldn't market a product if no one could buy it there. I want to ask him about that. Why are you going places that there are no customers? So let's think about, these are all the big questions. I'm going to ask him. Tell me what you think. I'm ready to welcome in the guy who was the big dog at the debate in Milwaukee, Vivek Ramaswamy. Vivek, welcome to the show. Congratulations on a huge debate performance. Obviously, woke up the next morning, you saw what I saw, which is everybody buzzing about you and your performance there. Talk to me about how it's been since then.
Well, look, I think that has provoked a lot of attacks. And, my view is if you can't handle the heat, you stay out of the kitchen. I can handle the heat and I'm in this race to win. But it has been remarkable to watch the establishment wing of the Republican Party rain arrows like a ton of bricks coming and falling from on high, especially on my anti-war positions, particularly on my America First positions when it comes to foreign policy, actually being a realist rather than a standard neocon. But I embrace that. I think that debate is going to make the Republican Party stronger. It's going to make our country stronger. It's going to make me more effective as our next president for having gone through it. But everybody said that when you're rising and you're posing a threat to the others, they're going to come at you.
Yeah.
Now I know what they meant. But to be honest, we're having fun with it because a lot of the arguments are falling flat and falling thin with the people. We're speaking the truth, and that's what's going to lead us to succeed.
It's not just the attacks. There's a positive to this. There's a lot of people that I'm watching online who are very receptive to what you're saying out there. But it's interesting because Trump's team, his pollster, Tony Fabrizio, put out a new poll. They seem to be playing up Nikki Haley's ascent in Iowa. I know I saw you out there. Obviously, your message resonated out there very well. Are you concerned at all about not just the national response, but the early state response?
I'm not, actually. So we're doing better in the national polls than in some of the early state polls, in part because there's a really simple reason why. Everybody else's super PACs have been flooding the TV circuits and the airwaves in those early states. We haven't been doing that so far. I have instead been the candidate who has spent the most time on the ground in places like Iowa and New Hampshire. We've done more events in those two early states than anybody else, but they've been intimate, small events, building the activists. So we're going steadily, planning to win in January. And, at the right point in time, we'll also do the same thing that conventional politicians do, but we haven't been doing it so far. And my view is other people are in a lucky position to be super PAC puppets, where they say what their super PACs want them to. Their super PACs buy them a bunch of TV ads. I'm not a super PAC puppet. I'm a patriot who speaks the truth, but we're going to have to do this in a grassroots-driven manner, and that's the steady approach that we're taking in those early stages.
Look, you've been making a very good case about going places that a lot of people, a lot of Republicans, a lot of conservatives don't go. One of the places that it's not just geographical. You go on CNN. And I want to play a quick clip of that exchange you had with Dana Bash this weekend, where she talks about comments that Congresswoman Presley made about you. Take a listen.
To say that she represents and she is a modern version of a KKK, which, as you know, was dedicated to the subjugation and violence against Black people. How on earth is she a modern
Dana,
grand wizard
let's be intellectually
of that
honest.
kind of organization?
Let's be intellectually honest and get to the heart of what this debate ought to be about. There is a worldview that says that the remedy to past discrimination is present discrimination, that if you're Black or brown, you have to have a particular point of view. That's from Ibram Kendi. That's from Ayanna Pressley, the people I quoted in my speech yesterday.
But can
There's
you
a
have
different
an
view
intellectually
that I have, which
honest
says that regardless
conversation
of who you are,
when you accuse
have to
her
be able
of
to have your
being
own
a
opinion.
grand wizard
Let's
of
have
the
the debate.
KKK? Can you have that intellectually
the
honest
point is-
discussion with that kind of rhetoric?
Yes, I can, Dana, because the point I'm highlighting is that even the people who, in good spirit, we all agree that the KKK was an awful organization that is a toxic stain in our national history. So given that we can start from that point of agreement, now that allows us to say, well, who actually sounds more like that organization today? The people who are calling for more racial discrimination on the basis of skin color.
Okay, so here's what I found interesting about that clip. Not your response. I'm going to leave that to others. What I found interesting is this, because you have been a champion of going after woke capitalism, woke policy. The default was what Congresswoman Presley said about you was okay. She attacked you for the color of your skin and not abiding by this idea that you have to have this view of the world based on the color of your skin. That was never a concern to CNN. Right? Their concern was, here's your response to her basically racist proposition that if you have a certain color skin, which is what Congresswoman Presley attacked you for, you must believe in this. I get a kick out of the fact that these guys have there was nothing wrong in their view with what Congresswoman Presley said. It was your response that they went after.
I stand by my response, by the way.
That's fine, but don't you think that that's ridiculous? That she gets
laughable
a pass?
but predictable. It's laughable but predictable. The idea, I just want to dissect it for a second, Sean. The idea that the color of your skin should restrict what you say. I can't think of a more racist idea. I think the Grand Wizard of the KKK, in the height of their heyday, would say, you know what, if you have a certain skin color, you better shut up, sit down, and do as you're told. And that's exactly what the likes of Ibram Kendi and Ayanna Pressley say today. Shut up, sit down, and do as you're told. If you're not a Black or brown face that has a Black or brown voice, we have no use for you. I think it's racist.